I shouldn't be recording this. Not while the wind screams against the glass and the foghorn wails like it's mourning something human. The beam outside keeps cutting through the storm, slow, deliberate, like it's searching for me. But the light was supposed to be off tonight. That's the first rule, the one I broke. The second sweep stops right at my window. The glass hums. My reflection flickers, just once, like it's trying to warn me. I used to think the lighthouse was a tool, something to guide, to protect. But tonight, it feels like an eye that's finally decided to look back. You'll think I'm being dramatic. You'll think I'm paranoid. But if you ever see the beam stop moving, it's already too late. I thought I was keeping the light alive. I didn't know it was watching. But it didn't start like this. It started with a job posting and a list of rules. The road ended before the map did. Nothing but rock, mist, and the slow pulse of the sea. The lighthouse stood ahead like a bone jutting from the cliff, its paint peeled by salt and time. Seagulls circled above, their cries stretched thin and human in the fog. Grayson met me at the base, the old keeper, all beard and bitterness. He handed me a ring of keys and a thin, water-warped manual labeled operational standards. His fingers lingered on the cover. "Follow every rule," he said quietly. "They're not all about the light." He told me the fog has moods, that it remembers who's here too long. Then he left, boat motor fading into the grey until I couldn't tell where sound ended and ocean began. The air felt too still for a place so alive. I told myself it was just isolation settling in. But when the wind shifted, I swear I heard the tower breathe. Inside the manual, I found more than instructions. I found commandments. The manual began. Like any government checklist, rotations, oil levels, lens maintenance. But halfway through, the tone shifted. The ink darkened. The handwriting no longer printed. Never let the light go out before dawn. Do not answer voices from the sea. If the door knocks after midnight, ignore it. Keep mirrors covered during storms. Always feed the gulls before sunset. Never, ever look directly at the light when it stops moving. Each rule had a note beside it, a date, a set of initials. GM Grayson's handwriting, maybe. The last page was torn, leaving behind the bottom edge of one final line, like a sentence unfinished. It should have been ridiculous. Maritime superstition, isolation, paranoia. But the rules didn't read like warnings. They read like survival steps. I laughed it off, tucked the booklet into my jacket pocket, and went outside to feed the gulls. That's when they started screaming. My first storm rolled in like a living thing, fog thick enough to taste, waves gnawing at the cliffs below. I settled into the control room, logged barometric readings, and checked the foghorn relay. It sounded every 30 seconds, a mechanical heartbeat in the dark. Then it hesitated, a long pause, 2 short blasts, 3 long, 2 short again. At first I thought it was a malfunction, until I realized the sequence wasn't random. It was Morse code, and it was spelling my name. The hairs on my neck rose. I stepped to the window, heart pounding, as the light's great beam swept across the sea. For a split second, a shape drifted through the beam, tall, lean, unmistakably human. The foghorn sounded once more. Not a warning this time, a whisper through steel. "Look behind you." I didn't. I just stood there, frozen, listening to the silence that followed. That was the first night the door knocked. It came at exactly 12:03 a.m. 3 slow knocks, a pause, then 3 more. The rhythm was too deliberate to be the wind. I froze, every instinct telling me to stay put. but curiosity dragged me to the door. Through the peephole, I saw Grayson. His slicker clung to him, soaked through, water pooling at his feet. He was smiling. "Forgot to tell you something," he said softly. His voice carried through the door like wet wood creaking. But Grayson had left hours earlier. I'd watched his boat fade into the fog. My pulse spiked. I checked the security feed. The dock was empty. No boat, no Grayson. When I turned back to the door, the knocking started again. From behind me, I spun around, and the window rattled 3 knocks against the glass. A whisper followed, close enough to fog the pain. Rule 7 was mine. After that, the fog didn't just surround the lighthouse. It started to speak. That night, the fog spoke my name. Not shouted, whispered, like someone standing inches from my ear. I froze by the open window, heart hammering. Then I heard another name, one I hadn't spoken in years, my brother's. The mist outside moved, thick as smoke, shifting with the tide. It wasn't wind, it breathed. I leaned closer against every rule, and the sea below stirred, slow, deliberate. Shapes glowed beneath the surface, pale and human for half a second before twisting apart. Faces. I swear they were faces. Their mouths opening and closing in perfect rhythm with the waves. They didn't sound angry. They sounded lonely, begging, remembering. The sea doesn't take the dead, Grayson had said once. It replays them. When I whispered my brother's name back, the voices stopped, and then the beam of the lighthouse froze. No longer sweeping, no longer searching. The light had gone still. The beam stopped mid-turn, frozen, staring out at the black water. I checked the gears, the motor, the breaker. Everything worked, but the light wouldn't move. It refused to move. It was fixed on one point out at sea. I followed its path through the window and saw something walking on the water. Too tall, too still. The mist clung to it like a shroud, and where its face should have been, there was a hollow glow, the same pale light as the lamp above. The radio sputtered to life, spitting static before a voice broke through. Not Grayson's, not mine. Just a whisper. Feed the gulls before it arrives. My stomach turned. It wore Grayson's shadow like clothing, every movement slightly out of sync, like memory pretending to be flesh. And then I understood the light wasn't showing me the sea. It was showing it me. That's when I turned toward the hall mirror and saw it standing behind me. The storm hit harder than before. Rain against glass. Wind like something alive trying to crawl inside. I caught my reflection in the hall mirror as I passed, but it didn't follow. It stood there, watching me. I froze, testing it with a slow wave of my hand. It didn't wave back. Instead, it smiled my mouth, my teeth just a heartbeat too late. The mirror's surface began to ripple, as if the glass had turned to water. Behind the shimmer, I saw shapes, faces, dozens of them pressed against the other side, like they were waiting for their turn. Panic clawed at my chest. I threw the heavy drape over the mirror, sealing it in darkness. The fabric shifted. Then it pushed back. Something inside the reflection pressed outward, its outline matching mine perfectly. Grayson's words echoed. Reflections are the lighthouse's way of taking attendance. Every keeper has left one behind. I tore through the manual and found the missing rule taped to the back cover. The missing page was brittle, water-stained, but the words burned through the ink. At dawn, extinguish the light before it remembers who lit it. My pulse quickened. Grayson's handwriting scrawled around the margins, frantic, slanted. It doesn't just show the way. It keeps what it sees. I looked up at the beam sweeping through fog, a perfect, unblinking eye. Every sweep lingered a little longer on the window, as if it recognized me. My reflection flickered in the glass, caught in its glow for half a breath too long. The realization hit like a wave. The lighthouse wasn't guiding ships. It was collecting keepers. Every one of us trapped in that light, frozen in endless duty, a soul recorded in the beam. Grayson hadn't retired. He'd been absorbed, preserved. I stood, trembling, gripping the switch. "You won't keep me," I whispered. But outside, the light had already turned, and it was facing me. The storm has passed. The sea looks calm again. I tell myself I made it out, that I shut the light off before it remembered me. But every time I close my eyes, I see the beam turning, slow and patient, sweeping across the fog like it's still searching. I'm recording this now from somewhere bright. The air hums, and everything tastes like salt. When the foghorn sounds, it syncs perfectly with my heartbeat. Maybe that's a coincidence, maybe not. If you ever visit the Maine coast and see the lighthouse still burning after dawn, don't look up. It's not a beacon anymore. It's a memory, looping endlessly, keeping what it's seen. This isn't a warning. It's an illumination. And if this upload reaches you, maybe the light found WI-V. The light doesn't guide ships anymore. It replaces who forgets the rules.